Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hello.
I'm so excited to chat with you as though no one were listening.
Me too.
I am really wondering, is anyone out there listening?
Yeah, we have an incredible citizen on our hands this week.
A good citizen.
Oh no, I don't have their name. It was like Ike something.
Turner?
It was Ike Turner. And the subject is, my review disappeared, ?
Ooh.
Hello from the coast of North Carolina. Left a clever review in August 2024 and it disappeared. So I'm doubling down. This is why they're such a good citizen.
Oh, what a good, yes. Good karma. You checked.
You checked.
Anyone else who's left reviews in the past, go see if it's still there.
Is it still there? I don't know. Anyways, doing my part to help y'all surpass Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
We have been in a long-running mission.
Feud. Yes.
Now
he's risen above suffering in his life.
We just want to rise above, 3,000 reviews to beat him?
Well, no, we're always kind of 1,000 reviews behind him, I feel like, and I'm sure that hasn't changed. So if everyone could pitch in and be a good citizen.
He's always 1,000 steps ahead spiritually and in reviews.
In reviews.
So, love the show so much. Found you through Saint Monica. Please press the button.
Oh, I love that Monica Padman.
Can't wait to subscribe to Patreon now that I've made it through all of the available episodes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Turner. Ike Turner. Now, it was like Ike-a-lay or something like that. The person's name might not even be Ike.
Yeah, we are all aware. You have a terrible memory when it comes to things. But thank you for that review. If anyone else wants to follow us on Patreon, you get a bonus episode every month.
Sure do.
Where we've started posting our little internet clips that Andy puts on Instagram a day early. So you get a little teaser.
Yep.
That's it's not. It's patreon.com/nobodyslisteningright.
That's right.
That is awesome. So speaking of Eckhart Tolle.
Oh, yeah.
I've really been kind of leaning into this idea of, I was talking to someone recently about how we're addicted to suffering. And that so much of our suffering, is there something going on with my hair or something?
There's a spider behind you on the wall, but I got my eye on it.
Oh, great. That makes me feel not secure at all.
It's going away from you.
It looks like it's going towards me.
No, it's not.
Anyway, this will be a mystery for this episode to see how this goes. This idea that we create so much of our suffering from our thoughts and identifying with our thoughts.
I'm just thinking what the spider's thinking of your rant right now.
Is it a rant?
Listen to this lady talking about suffering.
She doesn't know suffering. Listen, the spider just weaves its web. And then sometimes the web gets destroyed, and guess what they do?
I don't know.
They just start making a new web.
Is that true, though? It
Yes.
must be devastating.
We have some crazy-ass spiders around October, which is, appropriate, that make these insane, huge webs out under our tree.
Big webs.
Massive.
Yeah.
And
Elizabeth gets joy just cutting them down.
No, I don't get joy, but sometimes I do because it's somewhere our kids would run or something, and I don't want them to perish by this huge spider that's going to eat them, gobble them up.
Yeah.
And the next morning, if it isn't right back there once again, that spider was hard at work.
This is a quick tangent, and we'll get back to something about suffering or something.
We don't have to.
No, I want to. But last night, I was watching, the kids have really been into this YouTuber that is known for dominoes.
What's the name?
I think it's Hevish.
Yes.
Hevish5.
Yes.
And it's this girl that dominates so much. She even has her own line of dominoes. Havish.
Oh, that's so cool.
Anyways, we were watching the videos, and then our friend Maddie was over, and we were watching one of them too, and Maddie was kind of blown away. And this girl just makes huge domino installations. But we were thinking about dominoes, similar to you saying that the spider just makes another web. Mm-hmm. these domino people spend sometimes
Weeks.
months making these crazy, intricate, beautiful domino, what do you call them, presentations?
Yeah.
And it all ends, though, with a topple at the end. And then it's just like, but there's something kind of beautiful about that.
Well, it's the one truth in life that nothing is constant, right? Life is always changing. Like, I think a lot of my personal suffering comes from wanting things to be fixed, like wanting to get to a place where things are fixed and like, you know, life looks like this picture right now. But everything always changes. And I think that I've been learning that lesson and now I kind of get it. Nothing is fixed. Everything evolves. Everything changes. Even with our children. I was thinking about them because my dear friend Pam just had a new beautiful baby boy.
Oh, yeah.
And talking to her and thinking about those newborn days. And those are hard days. Yeah. I recall them as being very challenging.
Except the first 2 weeks, those are magic.
The first like 2 weeks is really dreamy and you're just kind of recovering and getting doted on. And if you have a great partner like I did, you know, it was wonderful. Then you feel like you woke up and got hit by a truck because the sleep deprivation is no joke.
Oof.
But thinking about how everything is so fleeting, like all of these stages of our children's lives, you look back on and go, oh my gosh, I wish I could squeeze this cute little 2-year-old, like when our daughter was 3 and had these tiny little glasses and looked so cute. And there's video of her I saw recently and I'm like, oh my gosh, but that was a fleeting time. And this is a fleeting time. And it's just a reminder you have to enjoy every second because it's constantly evolving.
Now, if you're the domino person, to me, it feels almost like when you see those big, like Zen sand gardens and you hear the stories of like monks would maybe make those and spend all this time. And then right when they finish, they like get rid of it, sort of like.
That's how I am with puzzles.
Yes, you are that way with jigsaw puzzles.
Like the moment, it's not about finishing. It's about the doing. But while you're doing, you think it is about finishing. But the dominoes.
Life is the journey.
Life is wow, it's all coming. Do we even need to keep podcasting? I think we just figured it out. Andy, the dominoes thing is so fascinating to me. I'm mesmerized by Havesh and the domino community because, yes, it is all done in one fell swoop.
But it's precarious the entire time.
But it can also be done. I mean, the one that I saw, it took over her entire apartment. And like one wrong step anywhere for months would ruin the whole thing. And I'm sure that has happened many times where the one wrong step happens. And then on top of it, at the end, one domino's a centimeter out of place and the whole thing doesn't go.
Oh, when the topple doesn't go exactly how you want?
Yes. It's so beautiful, but also like takes a very specific kind of strength of mindset and character, I think, to pursue that.
It's been a long time since I've done this. Probably 15 years, maybe. Was YouTube around 15 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, because we were YouTubing 20 years ago. Remember?
Really?
Remember our 2 Girls, 1 Cup Raisin Bran?
Let's clarify that, because if you just hear 2 girls, 1 cup.
Raisin Bran.
There was, if people don't remember, there was a wild video that sort of John Mayer made the reaction videos famous, I think.
I never even saw the video.
Really?
I heard it, but it's 2 girls are pooping in a cup or something, right?
Yeah, 2 girls are pooping in a cup, and it's really, really gross. And it took the internet by storm. But what really took the internet by storm was people made videos of other people watching the video.
Yes, it was a reaction. It was like the birth of maybe reaction videos.
Yeah, and they were...
And the birth of some real big poopies.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
You don't ever need to see it.
But anyway, we decided to make a very, you know what, we're so creative and stupid.
I actually still think it's a pretty funny idea.
It was a Raisin Bran box.
Just a box of Raisin Bran cereal.
Watching the video. And you or I was like under the table and shaking the box because there was this like cinematic music that went along to this video. So that was part of it. And so people would know when there were like swells of the cinematic music that the video was becoming grosser and grosser.
Yeah.
And the box started like shaking and like freaking out. And then Raisin Bran flakes were falling out of it. And I also remember was that box of Raisin Bran was like $4.99. Can't buy that anymore. It was a family size.
At Target, family size is only $5.99.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so YouTube. Go on. Carry on.
YouTube. Oh, yes. So there was a moment in time. It has been since we've lived in LA, but that I got taken a little bit by Domino fail videos for a minute. Because
you did?
they're big compilations. Now I almost feel like bad watching them because you are sort of enjoying the fails.
I know, but don't you think that's so human?
Yeah.
Because no, it's inspiring to me. You know, people say, I want to, as a parent especially, really lean into the idea of like, there's no such thing as failure. Now, I know this goes counter to what we were saying a few weeks ago, which is if you don't try, you can't fail.
Hold on. I thought you were saying, isn't it human to laugh at that a little bit? And I was agreeing with that.
Oh,
That's not what you meant at
all.
all.
No, it's human to want to watch other people fail because it gives you comfort and almost permission to also try things that you're likely to fail at.
There's something different going on with a Domino fail video
Okay.
where there's a discomfort, there's an anxiety of when is it going to happen? And you do, and I think I was
It's like an ucky but good feeling.
Delighting a little bit in an ucky way where I had to stop watching those videos.
Yeah. Good for you. It's immoral is what you're saying.
Last thing about Two Girls, One Cup Raisin Bran video.
Yeah.
I think I could find that video.
Oh, I could.
Would it be worth posting that, or would that potentially, I would hate for that to get any traction and flame the fires of a Two Girls, One Cup resurgence. Because nobody in the world needs that.
We definitely would be the impetus of a resurgence.
But I kind of want to share that because I think it's kind of funny.
We should share it. Let's put it on our Instagram.
All right, let's see if we
I
can find it.
think it's funny. And also, we look so young and like plump.
We also did a great Apple iPhone parody video. Do you remember?
Yes, I do. It was, we filmed it outside our building in Brooklyn. God, we just were young and had time and like, I don't know. But to our credit, we would get these really stupid ideas and go with them. But there was this trend of these Apple commercials back then. And how funny that now you make Apple commercials. You have one coming out in Japan, don't you?
Yeah.
So it was this trend of people like talking about some feature on their phone, but it was very kind of like, we're filming this out in the street with a person in front of a white backdrop.
Yeah.
And it was like, so I really love the new like voicemail feature on this, that it shows up and it blah, 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 blah. But in ours, the feature goes awry because I'm finding out that my mom's dying during the filming of the commercial. It's pretty funny. We gotta find those.
Well, it is funny, but it's says a lot on so many different levels. Mm-hmm. But I think you've been true to yourself in always owning that part of your...
My parents are dead.
Yeah, life.
I have always owned...
And leaning into...
My parents are dead.
Yeah, leaning into the humor or using humor as a device to deal with that drama.
Drama is what you're calling it.
I think so.
The loss of my parents.
Yeah.
You're a monster.
Are you talking to me or are you doing or what?
What do you mean? Did I look away?
No, you're like looking through me in a way that also feels like you're performing for like I'm a cameraman or something, like you were doing a new commercial. It didn't feel like you were actually talking to me.
Sorry. I'm just joking. Okay. Anyway, the impermanence of life. And once you accept that, and I think Eckhart Tolle surely has, it will make your suffering dissipate quite a bit. Now, I wanted to ask you, kind of somewhat related, not really. What's your relationship to gossip? I'm so curious.
Okay, define gossip. What do you want to know? What kind of goss do you want from me right now?
No, I don't want goss. I want to know what but you just told me quite a bit.
But this is going to be gossip.
No, what is your relationship? What is your personal relationship to gossip?
But don't you see that me answering this is sort of going to be gossip?
No.
You don't see that.
Like, walk me through that.
Well, what do you want to know exactly?
First of all, okay.
What kind of gossip I like?
Yes.
Do I like it? Do I not?
Do you like it? How do you feel about it? Do you think it's immoral the way you think watching fail videos is? Like,
in what way would it be immoral?
Does it actually have kind of a similar feeling to you sometimes?
Okay, yeah. This is my take on gossip.
Okay.
Let's start with the kind of gossip I love, all right?
Which is like neighborhood gossip.
Yes. Give me some neighborhood gossip or school gossip. Like, give me some gossip about some parents who I know who they are, but I'm not really friends with them. And then I find out maybe there's cheating involved or something like that.
Yes. There was a huge scandal that happened. This was a long time ago when our kids were real little in a adjacent to us social circle.
Yeah.
And that was so juicy because you can really be like, and then what?
That was great. And we like knew who these people were.
And no one got hurt. No kids were hurt or anything.
Great point. But
Let's caveat.
That was not close enough to me.
Oh, you want it closer. That was one ring too far out.
Yeah, I need them to be like in the same classroom with our kids, or I need to know where their house is in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
but
yes.
that kind of gossip, ooh, I love it. Celebrity gossip, it doesn't really do much for me at all. I really like these lower stakes, but when they're much higher stakes for the people involved, gossip.
Yes.
Lower stakes for me.
Got it.
That doesn't even make sense with the celebrity part of it.
There was some, I hope it's okay if I share this. I'll just be very vague. I got some hot goss this morning.
This morning?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
About a situation in a game where a parent was filming a game of children.
Okay.
And it wasn't until much later the parent was reviewing the footage and saw that a goal was made because the kid like kicked in the goal and an assistant coach who was just kind of standing there tapped the ball.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yes.
So there's like an assistant standing by the goalie, sort of, or by the goal post?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I love. I absolutely fucking love that because I love the potential for the aftermath
the drama.
Of that.
How do you deal with that?
Oh, I deal with it.
I don't want to get too into it because
maybe not your story to tell.
Yeah, but you also. So we're selling our cabin as we've shared, and our cabin is in a beautiful little town, and you live for that town gossip.
Yeah,
and you're actually like on Facebook specifically just to enjoy the gossip of that town.
Yeah, so I do enjoy that for sure.
And sometimes there's like serious gossip.
I wish I could find, are there other me's that enjoy that gossip? Or is everybody else just kind of like in it? Because there's a lot of people weighing in on what's going on. I'm a lurker just liking the gossip.
Well, you're in the perfect, you don't want to be in it. That's kind of my relationship with gossip.
Don't get involved. Just
try not to get involved. Now, there is this idea of if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Just listen to other people do it.
But just listen to other people. But I also think that there's like scientific backing up that sometimes gossiping can be really uniting. And I'm navigating this with one of our kids right now to find the balance of gossip, because I don't think it's fair to just say, don't ever be involved, don't ever talk about anyone. I think if it's in a mean-spirited way, but our kid isn't like that anyway. Like, they're never going to be mean-spirited about someone. Mm-hmm. But my first real lesson in gossip was this is my friend Annie. Growing up, she and I created a new language, Abyss.
Yeah.
It was Pig Latin. But we would write each other letters and thought we had like, no one could decode it.
Yeah.
And we were mean. I was mean about some of the very popular girls.
Yeah.
And in this letter, and someone got a hold of it. And it turned into a like scene out of Mean Girls where the leader of the popular girls came up to me like holding the note up in front of her. This was 6th grade. And came over to me with her like cronies behind her.
Wait,
No.
6th grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So you weren't 8 or 9. Didn't you say that in the beginning
did I?
when you made this language?
No, I wouldn't have been because I didn't live there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wait, I might be wrong too.
Okay, so she came up with her cronies, who I was mean about, and I mean, rightfully put me in my place and was like, read it. Like they had decoded it and written the whole
What kind of
letter.
shit were you talking?
Unfortunately, I think I was regurgitating some of the stuff that I was hearing back then, which was probably stuff about, I mean, I was probably talking about like being forward sexually. Sorry, my stomach just made such a weird noise.
on mic. That timing was incredible. Wait, being forward sexually?
Yes.
I think I can read between those lines.
I was shaming a 6th grader, but that's what we were dealing with back then. Luckily, our kids do not, that is not even, I hope. It doesn't seem like in the realm of anything. I hope that the tides have turned so much. I mean, but that's what we were taught. Like, it's really sad, honestly, looking back on it. But I'm just being honest here. That's what I think I was saying.
And also, let's be honest, you're saying this was a popular girl?
Yeah.
Who maybe had like a boyfriend that she was maybe kissing, and maybe
Yeah.
your crew felt left out in that world. So the easy thing to say was like, she's
I
forward.
wasn't feeling left out. I was 11.
But maybe you're okay. So you're saying that you weren't saying that she was forward sexually.
Yeah.
Because you weren't jealous a little bit?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure, I think I was jealous of her in other ways, or like wanted to be included. I mean, it's the tale as old as time.
True, very true.
When you're not part of something and it's exclusive, that you're like, whatever. But anyway, we all ended up being friends, and everyone, you know, this was little kid stuff. But that was a tough lesson in gossip. I had to own my shit. I mean, there was no avoiding what was happening. She was holding the letter up in front of my face, and I had to go, oh my, you know, I did say that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I never meant for you. I think I wrote them all a letter apologizing and saying I never meant for you to see that. Not that that makes it okay, but like, I'm sorry that I hurt you, stuff like that. So it's also a lesson in apologizing.
And then they had to translate that?
I wrote it in Abyss. Okay. So we were watching White Lotus on Max, HBO, one and the same. They wanted us to help get the word out, so watch White Lotus. I'm just kidding. But there's that scene where the older women are gossiping.
Yes.
And I think it's so well done.
Oh, about their good friends. When
About their
one friend
good
leaves
friends.
the area, they're talking about her. And it's almost, it seems like it might be a runner that's going to happen to each character, sort of.
And the way they do it is like very relatable in some ways. And also the way they've built those relationships. I have definitely felt like the odd man out in my friend group. And I think everyone does at some point. And then I felt like I'm not the odd man out.
Yeah.
And whatever. But it made me reflect on this idea of gossip being uniting as long as like people aren't getting hurt. And you just have to be so careful about it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm setting myself up to be really judged.
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think everybody feels this way about gossip. I'm curious. I'm kind of curious how you're going to land this plane.
The way they landed it in Toronto, probably.
Too soon. I think you were about to land it, though.
I was?
Yeah.
Will you help me?
Well, I don't know exactly. So you're basically saying you think gossip's okay as long as other people don't find out?
No,
because it's a unifying thing?
I'm talking about how to approach it with our kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think never gossiping from a place of true mean-spiritedness the way I did as a child.
Yeah.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're like reflecting on something together with someone, now doing it about like a friend in your friend group is treacherous. I feel like that's...
Well, it depends on the type of gossip. We have friends in our friend group that I'm sure talk a little gossip about us and are like similar in White Lotus. Do you know what I mean? Like,
what do you
oh
think
my
they're
gosh.
saying?
Who knows? But like, I think you have to know that that's definitely happening.
I kind of would be honored to be gossiped about.
Well, that's the other.
I wish I was getting gossiped about. It means you're relevant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do I land this plane?
I want you to land it because it seems like you have. I thought you were going somewhere with the kids with like shared suffering, almost like it's good for siblings to like have a shared suffering against the parents sometime.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
You know, because they can bond over mom and dad are being an asshole together, sort
Right.
of. I sort of thought that's where you were going, where maybe there's a tinge of that in some of these instances.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I don't want our kid to be the source of gossip, like the gossip. I think that that's not a good place to be. But if you're sharing with someone and kind of ruminating about something, I think that's okay. In our family, to your point, we gossip also. Like you and I will talk about something that happened with the kids. Is that gossip? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll share it in a way like you won't believe what. I don't know.
Yeah.
And to your point, I hope that they gossip about us. That is shared suffering, and I think that unites them. And a big goal for me is that they are very close throughout life.
Yes.
Even though I don't really have full control of that, but it seems so far so good.
We do a good job of manipulating the situation to turn out that way. What's wrong?
Do I hate this like whole rant I just went in on?
It's not a rant.
It's not. It's a rumination. And you're right. I never really landed the plane.
Do you just want do you want someone to say it's okay for you to keep gossiping? Is that what because we started this whole thing by you saying, how do I feel about gossip, right?
Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Do you just need permission to keep doing this?
No. Wait, hang on, Andy. Time out. Am I saying that I'm gossiping a lot? Like do I need permission to keep doing what?
I'm asking. I don't know.
I don't think I gossip that much.
Okay.
But I also think it's really villainized. Like it's, and it can be very hurtful.
Yeah.
When rumors are spread and stuff like that. But I also think with power comes great responsibility. See, like, I hate all of this. It's a problem. I hate everything I've said.
I'm enjoying it.
So have you ever done anything like that where you've gotten in big trouble and you really regret it?
Yes.
Like what?
There's one case I don't even really think I want to talk about publicly, but I got caught similar to you in a situation where I was gossiping about someone else, and that person found out with very clear evidence that because they actually heard my words out loud doing it.
You gotta please give us, I just went on this whole rant about how I'm like pro gossip. Please give us like something.
I think that's pretty good. Basically, I took a phone call with somebody, and then then I got off the phone and I was hanging out with 4 people, but I forgot to hang up the phone, and I revealed a piece of something about the person that I'd called on the phone. That was a piece of gossip. And they heard me reveal it to the friends.
Oh, that sucks. Are they still friends with you?
No, not really.
Okay.
We don't stay in touch, unfortunately. And I felt terrible.
Yes.
And that was a big lesson learned.
These are human lessons, yeah.
And in that case, that really was, to be honest, it's probably a story I've shared since that incident happened because it was kind of a good story. But yeah, you just have to be careful of because you can hurt people's feelings, and hurting people's feelings is never the way to go.
No.
You know?
Yeah, life's too short to be out there hurting feelings.
But at the same time, if you think about us with a show, a podcast, if you will, we hurt people's feelings, you know?
How so?
There's times where we offend people with our views or what we say.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's quite a bit different than knowingly talking about something about like an acquaintance that you shouldn't be.
I also, going back to my example of, I was essentially slut shaming an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And I was 11, but I think that kindness has come a long way. Like, I think today, at least in our world here, if our daughter heard that I did that, her mind would be blown because we are so careful about kindness and not hurting people's feelings. And don't even get me into all of the gendered stuff about all of that. You know, like I think that our upbringing was very different, and there was a lot more mean-spirited gossip and stuff like that happening. Whereas now the gossip is more just like this crazy, like the video example, this crazy thing happened. It's like a story that you're hearing that's kind of wild and changes.
That's interesting. I do definitely think you're correct in even the word slut in our era.
The way you just said that, like dragged out.
In our youth,
yeah,
that was a very prevalent word in our demographic, in our and in culture at that time, right?
Yeah, willy-nilly thrown about
all the time.
And trust that I knew as a girl in the world, like that's the last thing you want to be, but you also like your main value is how sexually attractive you are.
Right.
It's really shitty.
It's a whole, what do you call that? Cocktail mess of how are you supposed to decipher this?
Well, it's a lose-lose.
It's a lose-lose. But so all that being said, though, I do wonder, that's a good example, that word, not hearing as much. I don't think our kids are going to be hearing that much at all.
Hopefully not at all, yeah.
However, though, are there other things? I don't think our kids are quite at the age of where that will really start yet anyways. And I'm not even talking about any sort of necessarily language having to do with like sex stuff either.
Yeah.
Just I'm talking about anything in general.
Right.
Of getting to that age, 7th, 8th, 9th grade, where things can be a little harder to navigate in general. And I bet there will be language. It will be of a different time and culture right now.
Right.
But that is hard for the kids to deal with. I don't know what it is yet.
Of course, yes. And they have social media now. Can you even?
I can't.
Yikes. Oh, well, that's a whole other thing in terms of like laying the groundwork of how to gossip responsibly. That's what I'm after.
Yeah.
Is like teaching how to gossip responsibly when I've had to learn the lessons the hard way. No one ever talked to me about this. Or so a huge element is social media.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears.
Okay.
The other day, something happened where we were enjoying our special time.
I wish this was just like some horrendous gossip we just looked like the biggest fucking assholes.
That slut who lives down the street, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We were enjoying some Tetris time.
Okay.
You did quite well for you. I think you got up to like 200 and
anytime I clear more than 200 lines, it's a great score for me.
And I was getting up to like 240 something. It's going well. sometimes it just all falls apart right there in the 240s because
Yeah.
shit just starts falling so fast.
Yeah.
And for anyone wondering, this is on PS5 Tetris, Tetris Connected Effects.
Something like that. It's on you can get it everywhere. PS4, Xbox, Switch.
And we're playing each other, but really we're just playing for ourselves. And because I'm just so good. But what happened was it ended. Now, I obviously had done much better than you.
Mm-hmm.
And you looked at me and you said, can I give you a coaching tip?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, 214 over there? I'm here at 243.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give me a tip?
Yeah.
And you looked at me and you said, look, as your coach, I think I could take you all the way.
I do.
Do you?
And you immediately in your head are thinking, no, you can't. You've never beaten my score. That's not what makes a good coach.
Okay, talk to me about this.
Have you seen coaches? Now, there are all sorts of coaches, right? There are former amazing players that are coaches, but there are also coaches that you might think they've never even been to the gym, right? Like
Sure.
There's all flavors of coaches. You don't have to be excellent at the sport to be an excellent coach.
And what makes you think you have what it takes?
Because I think I know your game so well, and I know your strengths and your weaknesses are starting to reveal themselves to me. And I think with coaching, I could help you navigate those weaknesses and make you a better player.
What is the top?
What is the top?
When you say, I think I could take you to the top or all the way, what does that look like to you?
I mean, it's higher than you've ever been, I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Have we and then last night I was hanging out with Danielle Schneider, love her, and she's in my Mahjong group, and we were just talking about what if I just went to Vegas?
Because Danielle was saying, she legitimately was like, oh, you could make money playing Mahjong.
Could I?
Well, I don't know. I've never seen you play. That would be a harder one for me to become your coach. But it intrigues me for me to be your full-time Mahjong and Tetris coach.
Are there Mahjong coaches, I wonder?
Didn't you have a Mahjong coach come teach you guys how to play?
Yes, Sam, yes. But listen, I am there is a portal in my life right now that I could step through and become a Tetris player, a Mahjong player.
I think the Mahjong would be a smarter play.
Yeah, because there's real money to be had. But are we going to Vegas? Am I playing Mahjong?
So if you were to go to Vegas, do you know what that looks like playing Mahjong in Vegas? Do you know? Do you think it's here's my question. How long does a game take typically? Or does it really vary?
It varies, but let's say a half hour.
In Vegas, do you think you're placing different multiple bets throughout the game, or do you think it's just one bet per game?
I think it's one bet, but I don't know. I need to research this a little bit.
But I do think that would be fun the next time we go to Vegas, you should play some Mahjong. Just to see how
I'm not going to Vegas again and not going to play Mahjong. And I do in Vegas playing really dumb. And in this case, it kind of would be. I don't really know. I know how to play. This would be your worst nightmare, though. In Mahjong, there's this dance you do at the beginning to set up the game. And it's done in a very specific, it's called the Charleston. And it's done in a very specific...
It's called the Charleston?
Yes.
What?
It's done in a very specific way. Someone becomes the dealer based on rolling dice.
Okay.
And then they are dealing out the tiles.
Okay.
In a very specific order.
Yeah.
And then you start swapping tiles from your tile grouping. And you first go to the right, and then you go across, and then you go to the left, and then you go to the left again, and then you go. So you have to know what you're doing, and you'll just look like a goddamn fool.
Okay.
That's my biggest fear in Vegas is during the Charleston to not feel like I know what's going on. And then I'm does everyone have their own Mahjong cards? I need to know how all of these things work before I'm out there.
Well, I would assume you already know how to play.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's not the kind of game where you can go up in Vegas if you don't know how to do it at all. That sounds like a nightmare, right? Whereas like blackjack, they'll take you through it. Roulette, they'll take you through it.
Sure.
All craps, whatever.
Yes.
I think you know plenty to get in there.
Uh-huh.
And I would assume that the dealer does a lot of that heavy lifting for two reasons. One, to keep the pace of the game, I'm assuming, and also to make sure there's no funny business going on.
That's interesting because, the dealer would be an employee of the
Yeah.
Whereas how I'm playing, we each become the dealer at different times. Okay.
Right. So, yeah. But I wonder how much, like, the buy-ins in are per hand.
I know.
Do you want to look it up real quick?
Yes. Buy-ins. Mahjong. Vegas. Can range from $150 to $800.
$150 to... Okay. Whoa.
Wait, there are Mahjong championships. But that's not... Is that all that much? Like, I need to make a living.
Well, I'm sure there's higher stakes tables, but I think 150 buy-ins plenty for you to try the first couple times.
Yes. I also think it would just be so fun to be in that culture. I've always thought it would be so fun. You know, when we watch the World Championships of like billiards, I almost called it pool.
When have we ever watched that?
I've watched it.
Really?
You've watched it.
What are you talking about?
I feel like the kids have seen it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Black Widow.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. But poker, you know, it's so... And I thought, that's a world I could never be part of. We'll never say never.
I like how in poker, when you see those celebrity poker players, they all have their own vibe and like their own like big personality or small personality. That might be their style. I wonder in Mahjong, in the type of players that play in Vegas, if you would slide in as like an average looking typical player or if you are an outlier, like your personality.
I think I'm an outlier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then are you an outlier in like your demographic? Like the cliche would be that it's going to be older Asian and Jewish ladies, right?
Yes.
But like, I wonder how prevalent that is in Vegas too. Like all of this would be
it's so interesting. Yes.
To check out.
Here's what I will say about Mahjong. Since the fires, there hasn't been as consistent a schedule of our group.
Yeah.
And God bless Danielle. She's like hosted quite a few times. It's so important in my life right now. And it's coming together. And as I've said, we don't even really talk that much about life. It's just community, communion.
Yeah.
And I also happen to be good at it. So it also is nice to get a little Venmo action. You know, we're making bets.
Yeah. How big are bets?
$2.
Per game?
Yeah.
You guys should up it to like $10.
Well, it's easy to say that when you're the one winning.
Oh, yeah. You can't be the person to say that.
No, I can't.
Oof.
But it's nice that we're putting it out there.
Heavy as the crown. Heavy as the crown. Okay, I have something kind of interesting to tell you about that you might be like, why are you telling me this? But I went down like a big rabbit hole about grocery store carts and where they came from.
Great. I had an experience the other day in our local grocery store is gross. Like the carts are gross. Half of them are broken and someone always parks the broken one in front of the ones that you have to get access to. There's no like...
The carts are an abomination at this store.
An abomination. And there are never baskets available. And this store its prices are astronomical. Every time I go there, I think, God, I could be living in some like foreign countryside and going to a farmer's market and spending a quarter of what I'm spending here and having a delightful experience. Why am I doing this? There's like pee-pee on the, when you walk in, there's like pee-pee on the corner. God knows what, where, when, why, how.
You got to start going to Target or I'll just take care of it because it's so much cheaper. Every time I'm like, I can't believe how much cheaper it is. We got to just go to Target and Trader Joe's.
Okay,
and we can get everything. But this kind of gets to what you're saying. So in the 30s and like 40s, I guess, the typical shopping experience in America, you had your little basket and you're buying like 15 items.
Your little like Hansel and Gretel basket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you had like a little bag, but no, you were bringing up a basket to the counter at your little shop.
Now things were also different back then because I think that like canning was happening more at home. Milk was delivered by the milkman.
Yeah.
There were certain things that when we go to the store now, we get these very heavy, bulky items.
Yeah.
And in large quantities. I'm sure that they were shopping more frequently.
Yes.
So
there was this guy named Sylvan Goldman, and he had some stores, and let's see, this was in Oklahoma City. But so he noticed this, that people are getting their little wooden or wire basket at the front of the store, filling it up, coming to the counter, and that's all they're getting. So he thinks, what if I have a bigger fucking basket?
Yes.
Are they gonna buy more?
Right.
So he saw a nearby folding chair and he thought, ooh, I wonder if I could make something sort of with that with wheels. So he makes it, but it's a flop. The first cart.
Folding chair doesn't sound. Why don't you just put the basket on wheels?
But why do you want to know why it was a flop?
Because it wasn't a basket on wheels?
No. I think he sort of landed the design.
You really threw me with the folding chair.
Well, that was his inspiration.
Okay. It wasn't the basket?
So the first design was some sort of wooden folding frame with wheels that would open up and it would hold two baskets. Okay?
What an idiot.
Anyways, he's dismayed that it's not working. And this shopping cart historian, Rob Lammy, shout out, he says the big reason was, one, men were too proud to admit if they would ever need to use something like that. They want to carry their groceries.
Well, that makes sense. Also, I think it probably felt a little bit like a pram. And
Elizabeth, this keeps happening where you just know the thing over and over.
Really?
I do not know if that was an issue for the men, but for women, that was their thought. I already am pushing around a fucking baby buggy enough. Now I got to push this thing around.
Yes.
That was the big hang up for women.
Mm-hmm.
So what did this guy do? He hired attractive men and women to pretend shop in the store.
What a fucking marketing genius. I regret everything I said about how stupid he was to put a folding chair on wheels. Oh my God.
And there you go. It took. So whenever anyone had any
we are all sheep. I mean, this goes back to our gossiping thing. We just want to follow each other and be like each other. We're all sheep, and we saw a beautiful woman or beautiful man. We want to be like them.
Yep.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
Wow.
Guess how much a shopping cart costs?
To make?
Or
landed? No. How much are they?
About $150 each.
Okay.
Metal ones are $150 usually. Plastic about $100. Thus, many grocery stores have about $50,000 in carts.
Wow. Well, ours, I can tell you, has about $10,000.
Yeah.
Because they're all fucking busted.
They're all fucking busted. It's similar to, have we ever gone on a rant about luggage? I've heard so many people have this take, but the idea that it took so long for someone to figure out to put the wheels on the luggage and stuff is another invention where let's be honest, the cart's great, you know?
Yes.
Do you ever pick up the basket and then you get too much stuff and you're killing yourself?
If I pick up the basket, the moment I do it, I go, that was a mistake. But then I carry on through the store, and then I'm the person standing there in line with the full basket straining my shoulder, and then 7 other things precariously it's a every single time.
Yeah. This kind of marketing, though, I think is still heavily, heavily used. It's basically like what all this influencer marketing is. It's just like this what marketing is.
Well, sometimes I'm like, how does the influencer marketing work? Because we all now know that they're getting paid to hawk this product to us. But I guess it's just like there is some primitive human brain thing that's going, oh, this pretty girl with this product, now I want that. But it's like, no, she's getting paid to tell you that she wants this thing.
I think you're right, but also they are deciding like what they do. I mean, even on this show, when we advertise for stuff,
we
do say no to a lot of things.
We have said no to a lot of things.
We're not doing gambling ads and stuff like that. Like it's
I won't
usually
do any weight loss stuff or anything like that.
Yeah, so it is stuff that we'll be like stoked about.
And actually, you're right. Like there are products that we try all of everything, and I'm like, if we don't genuinely like it, we're not going to do it. A thing I've noticed is in Reddit. So I'm on all these like skincare things in Reddit.
Yeah. You think there's plants?
Oh, without question. And also now it's becoming almost AI-y.
I bet
where
it is.
Because people are smart and they'll go, gosh, this one product. Okay, so there's this one product that I will say is this neck firming cream. It's very reasonably priced.
Okay.
And I feel like it's had this resurgence lately of like, this stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
And you can buy it at your drugstore.
Okay.
I'm not going to say what it is because I fell for it.
Okay.
I got it and then I got a rash. So the people who, like, if someone's posting and it's a new Reddit account and they're like, oh my gosh, this stuff is amazing. It's blah, blah, blah. You can go, oh, you've never posted before. This is created to do this. Well, now I think with AI, they can like have these accounts where they're AI posting gibberish in all these different places so that you go to their profile and you're like, oh, they exist because they have posted 200 times and all these different interests, like they're fly fishing, they're unshod, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so insidious now that I'm like, I can't even believe anything.
Well, we were talking about this the other day, we get multiple emails a day sometimes from people pitching us to have guests on this podcast, which we've never had a guest on this podcast. But these emails we get, they all have a similar feel and format where it's like the person's like, hey, love your podcast. And then it like summarizes a recent episode.
We loved the episode with Andy's father.
Yeah. And it's in a way that they couldn't have gotten it from the description, I don't think, of the episode. It's almost like AI is genuinely listening to an episode, transcribing it, and then figuring out what we talked about. But it can't figure out that we don't ever have guests on the show.
Right.
And now maybe some of these people are genuinely listening to the episodes.
No, they're not.
It does not seem. It just seems like this is an AI bot type thing.
For sure.
So getting back to your Reddit one, though.
Yeah.
I wondered recently, I got a new ping pong paddle and I was...
You keep calling it a blade.
Okay.
It's hard for me to get past.
It is a blade. Now, I did a lot of research and a lot of it was in Reddit and I kept coming over and over to this one guy in like Kansas City that makes his own blades basically, or he sources all the parts.
Does he call them blades?
Yeah, for sure. Oh. But basically... the whole thing was like, don't buy a pre-made paddle. You want to like pick out your wood and then the pads and everything. And like this is a good deal. This
was becoming a problem because you were lost in the world.
I love researching
the World Wide Web.
I love it.
But specifically this, for days and days, every time I would look over at you, your furrowed brow looking at your computer, and then I'd see all these windows of different ping pong paddles. Yeah. And it was like, just pick a fucking lane. Pick a blade.
Let me enjoy the process of picking the paddle, though.
Okay, you seem stressed out about it.
I do get a little stressed out about this stuff, but I
you like
love it.
You like the stress. Okay.
I love it. But then after I bought the paddle...
How are you feeling about it?
I absolutely love it.
Regrets?
So the ending of this story is it ended up being worth the hype. But after I hit order on the paddle, which was like... felt like an old school website. It was like a PayPal transaction. It felt like I could have sent money into the void, potentially.
Yes.
So as soon as I did that, I had this thought like, you know what? this could just be like a Reddit scam of this one guy has been plugging his own paddles with a few different accounts for,
Yes.
but then I was like, that's a long scam to keep up because this goes back like 10 years of
Right.
different people chiming in. But I had the suspicion because if you go on YouTube, and there's a lot of content on YouTube, there wasn't much about these paddles by this guy. So I was like,
Well, it might be very niche.
YouTube is very niche.
Oh.
You know, if you think about it.
2
Anyways.
Girls, 1 Cup, Raisin Bran.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Can
I
get
had that
anything.
thought, but then I was like, what an amount of work to do if you were this guy. But then it ended up, all the hype was real, and I
People
ended up getting a
often-
great paddle.
That's great. People often, though, do put a lot of work to scamming
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know why. I'm like, if you put that work to actually creating the business,
Oh, we talk about this all the time.
yeah.
Big scammers.
You and me?
Yeah,
Oh,
all the time.
I
We were
didn't know
just
that.
talking about it with, who were we talking about it with? We were watching some documentary.
uh-huh.
Scamanda. Perfect. If Scamanda had put the energy that she put into faking she had cancer
To getting cancer.
into anything else.
No, yes. I'm joking.
But into
No, you're
anything else,
right.
she would have been
Yes.
successful at it.
Yes. Well, that's the real tragedy. So, and then I just watched a docuseries the other day about this woman in Australia named Belle something.
Okay.
And she also faked cancer. It's always cancer. Also, I want to say both in Scamanda and this Belle person,
Yeah.
the details were so off about like the treatment they were getting. That they had, you know, a neuroscientist is weighing in on.
You can't question it, though, because you're an asshole if you question it, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of the perfect situation storm.
Yeah.
But she faked having cancer and like having, and here's where this can make your blood boil. You're gonna lose your shit.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Scamanda one is horrific.
Mhm.
This was even worse, if you can imagine, because she wasn't just scamming people out of money. She made this whole wellness company that Apple got behind and was like, she was a featured Apple app.
Okay.
It was all about she was curing her cancer with natural foods.
Okay.
So all of these people with cancer are looking at this young woman who has stage 4 incurable cancer, who was given 3 months to live and is here 4 years later, showing pictures of acai bowls and,
Right.
beet soup.
Right.
So they are potentially turning against Western medicine and going, oh, well, I can just cure this with food,
Right.
which you can't.
Right.
Anyway, just absolutely horrific. But also in this docuseries, people who had once been her friend were like, she has all of the makings of being like this. She became this massive corporate CEO of this successful app
Yeah.
that had beautiful pictures. It was compelling. She connected with people, which just take the cancer out of it. She could have had a hugely successful like wellness industry.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, luckily she's been outed as a complete fraud. And it's so interesting also because in the docuseries, she maintains like the whole way, and then she goes on this interview on Australian TV with 60 Minutes where they're like, so did you have cancer? And she was like, well, yes, because I thought I did.
Oh my God.
And she comes across, so they kind of do the before and after. And the before, she seems so self-assured and she's being flown all over the world to have meetings. She has this huge book coming out internationally with Penguin. Like she's like crushing it and seems so poised and smart. And of course, there's the element of, and she's going through cancer treatments. But, and then you see her and you're like, she's so stupid seeming. She comes across as just being so dumb. And like, how did you read your audience so well before to be able to manipulate them? And now you're maintaining, like, you think your audience is so dumb watching this going, oh, well, she thought she had it, so she must have, like, that counts.
I think it's because you had already so much success pulling the wool over everyone's eyes.
Oh.
It worked for so long that you build up this confidence.
Right.
And the sad truth is probably some of her audience is kind of like, oh, that makes sense.
That's true.
Like there is this thing that happens where there's a name for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. Oof.
God, but I just couldn't. I mean, the stress of lying like that, I don't know how people live with it.
You know, it's been a while since we've like really dug deep on the Elizabeth Holmes thing, probably since the documentary, but she was in the news recently. We were talking on our other show about her. But
Nobody's news. She was in that news.
She was in that news. But it would be so amazing if you could really, really get a completely true, honest interview with her, outlining the whole thing that like it was certified real, but we could never know if that was real or not. But of like, what was going through your head?
Yes, like at every... I would love to know, like from the outset, did you believe in this? Or was this a scam from the jump?
Right.
Was it a, like, we're going to fake it till we make it type of thing and hoping with these brilliant minds you're collecting, like, this will work out? At what point did you realize, like, oh, now we're just running a scam. It's not going to work out. You know, it's so
that's
fascinating.
The most interesting thing about that case, because you do wonder.
Yeah.
There is a world where it could have definitely started legit. And at some point in time, it starts getting fuzzy, and the scam, when does it become scam, sort of?
Right.
And yeah, are you tricking yourself in your own head? Are you so high on your own supply that you truly are thinking you're doing the right thing? Like, there's so many questions, but you can never get the real answers. Yeah.
Yes.
But
it's fascinating.
Unless maybe, I don't know, maybe after you die, do you get any of those answers? Could that be my one question? If you get one question, like, yo, can you give me the real on Elizabeth Holmes?
Like, how was she feeling internally, emotionally?
Yeah, like, can you like touch me and I get to experience it all as if I was her for those 3 years?
Oh, wow. Well, this brings me to something. I know we need to wrap up, but I wanted to ask you just to infuse some joy into this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about this morning. You know, the life review that, you know, legend has that when you pass away, you have this very quick review of your life.
Life flashes before your eyes.
Life flashes before your eyes. Now, I actually spoke to a man who had that happen to him. This episode never aired because we had some real audio issues on his end, unfortunately. And this was on my show, The One Sure Thing, which actually I think is going to be taken down and maybe put behind Patreon. I'm not sure yet. But his situation was he was skydiving. He jumped out of an airplane with he and I think his brother did. And his chute failed.
Okay.
And luckily it got caught up in like a tree. So that saved his life because he ended up not hitting the ground. But he did hit a tree real hard.
Jesus.
And he had the life flashing before your eyes experience.
Okay.
And it was like time slowed down. He didn't feel fear. It was very much like everything happening all at once. And he was living out each moment in real time. And there was an element of also feeling the feelings of how that moment made the other person feel. So you're having almost like an omnipotent experience of that time.
That's my nightmare.
Well, it sounds nightmarish, but I actually think you do a pretty good job of not making people feel horrible.
I don't know. I'm sure there's been plenty of times where I have.
Well, we're all human, and that's, I think, part of the human lived experience. Mm-hmm. Like, none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
But in terms of joyous moments,
yeah,
what do you think will flash if this is the case? What do you think you're getting?
Oh my gosh, so many good ones. I mean, so many ones with the kids.
Yes.
Even like probably surprising ones that I couldn't even say right now.
Right.
The idea of those popping in of like, oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yes.
That to me, that makes me feel very happy and emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Those little moments.
The
I mean,
little
I
ones.
had that this morning. Like, I still am so lucky to get morning like snuggles. I wake up early, I get my coffee, I do a little gratitude journaling, and our kid comes out and snuggles with me for like 3 minutes. And I was thinking this morning, this right here is like the
Wow.
good stuff.
Yeah.
I also, with both of our kids, I think the moment I looked into their eyes for the first time, there was something just so magical. And one of our kids, I felt like the way I describe it is like, they've lived many, many lives instantly. Like, you're here to experience this with us, but you like are coming with a history. And then the other kid, I felt like you are freshly fallen snow. Like,
Yeah.
and neither is bad or good. It's just interesting. And I would say that kind of feels applicable to them even today.
Yeah.
Like an enthusiasm for like new experiences versus kind of like this sage calm.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've obviously, like, us meeting up and in New York, you were my crush when we were little.
Yeah.
I wasn't with you, but it was about you. Like, when I got into the cab the morning after we had hung out that whole first night together,
Yeah.
and the song I connected with my mom was playing.
Yeah.
I've had a few of those, not that profound, but like those moments lately where I'm feeling very kind of in flow with stuff. Connected.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I guess we did it. I want to say,
There's nothing like gossip.
gossip responsibly. Learn from my mistakes, both in this podcast and in life. And good night.
Good night. Shh.